So when you're looking at the card in this workshop, you're looking at the actual NFT, like the same one. Tabletop Simulator. Okay, so go to Tabletop Simulator in your library. Go over to the workshop. Okay. So you're going to go up here and you're going to type in MondoMegabits. Or you can do your files. Here we go. And then if you click on subscribed items and you're already subscribed to my workshop, then you'll see it there. You go to MondoMegabits, you get one by Tupacula, and you have one by me. Now Tupacula's is good. His is more of like a purist mod. It's just like Sam Hyde's rules. Mine is slightly different, and I will have a PDF ready. Hopefully by the end of the day, but I want to get this video edited first because I have to go back to work tomorrow. So this is mine, the corner logo. I can't change that thumbnail apparently. I wanted to change it to the cool new blue card back that one of the devs actually gave us. The devs actually came in and they started helping us out with some stuff, so that was really cool of them. They gave us this cool new card backing, and they look really like clean. I like this style better, but this just looks cleaner though. I think look at that. It's like a moon or something. The Mondo Mega Moon. It's gonna look like this. You're gonna go ahead and subscribe to it. And then you're gonna open up Tabletop Simulators. Okay, so you're gonna go to Create, Single Player, and my workshop should be here. It's that thumbnail. Load in. Here you go, the MP4 MondoMegabits Hardline. So, the cards are gonna be in this bag right here. They're gonna be fake tech cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. They're separated like this because Tabletop Simulator does not like loading too many MP4s at once, so I spread them out into these bags. And now there's 60, and this one's really stuttering. There's a loading bar at the top. So now 60 made it in. So now we should start seeing error messages right up there. So basically, the game doesn't allow you to have too many cards active at once. Tabletop Simulator is just limited like that. So my recommendation is that either you use like only your favorite cards as the cards from this mod, or you just make your deck with less than 30 unique cards. So like, you know, I can go in here and all of these load in no problem, and their MP4s are all playing. So I can actually go in here, I can search through it and see that all of the MP4s are working completely, and they have their descriptions going as well. So see, these cards are all like completely fine. So if it were up to me, I mean, I would try to make my deck with like even less, like just as few as possible, and that should be fine. So I'm gonna assume that you guys know how to use Tabletop Simulator, which is maybe a false assumption. Maybe I shouldn't assume that. It's two colors you can be. You can be green or white. I got rid of all the other hands so that your cards don't like slip into somebody else's hand on accident. Here's the deck zone. Here's the grave zone. Anything that's put in there gets flipped face up. Anything that's put in the banish zone gets flipped face up. Anything that's put in the location/challenge zones get turned 180, and they cannot be tapped as well. So if you require a location to be tapped for some reason, then maybe put a counter on top of it or something, showing that it was affected in some way. Here's the group zone for the fake tech group card. I don't know if that zone is actually real or not, but whatever. Here's your field zone. This is where you can play all of your cards. Here's your think tank. This is where you can keep your agendas, your figureheads, and any items that that figurehead has. The moon, like this guy. Startup guy is a figurehead, so he would go in this zone. And then you could attach him with like social media mogul's beard right there. You could attach this item on him. Actually, it's a relic. Yeah, item/relic. And then whenever incantations come out, we can put incantations there. So here's how you draw cards. So in my game, I have different rules. As you can see, there's no buffer zone, because fuck the buffer zone. I'll have a PDF ready for you guys when you see this video. So there should be a PDF like here, or maybe here, and on the opposite side of the board. And that PDF will have all of my custom rules. I did decide to change a lot of stuff because, you know, some things in the original game just weren't thought out very well. And I happen to know some solutions for them. So I'm going to type 12 here on my, so this is a deck object currently, right? This is one object to the game, kind of. It's one deck of cards, but it's just one thing. Now this is a card object and a deck object, right? So at some point in the game, you might end up like getting a stack of cards instead of like a deck object. You don't have to fix that. You can deal with it. You can just live like that and that's fine. But like if I want to draw 12 cards out of this deck and there's a card on here, watch what happens when I type in 12. I got 1 and then I got 2 cards, but I typed in 12. So now watch when I type in 12 more into the deck object. Now I pull out actually 12 cards. So if you want to just do that, you know, this is the only like troubleshooting I'll give you here. So here's 15 cards. Here's actually here's a deck object of 15 and a deck object of 5. And I put it in here. And now this is 2 stacks, one of 15 and one of 5. If you highlight it and you press G to group it, it becomes one solid deck object. And you can't draw from, oh my god, you can. Oh, okay, so yeah, you can draw from deck objects then. I guess you just have to hover, yeah, okay, so highlight. So just hover over it, highlight it, draw it, like that, boom, done. Other than that, enjoy the cards, guys. I'm gonna take a big fucking nap. Actually, wait, I have narrative to explain to you guys. So as I was going through all the card text, the game designers gave us the blue card backs, which are really badass, and they also gave us the card text that you see in the description of all these cards. This stuff. Some of the card text might be wrong, some of it might be slightly different. If you spot anything, tell me, because I tried really hard to notice stuff, but there was a lot, so you know I easily could have missed things. In the card text, there's like pretty much nothing that says gain a narrative, right? There's no card text that says gain narrative. So because of that, I developed a system that I stole from Warhammer, which is a very successful gaming franchise. They have a scoring system that I basically copied. So I'll show you guys that now. Now they're not finished yet. They will be finished by the time you guys see this video, and they'll be in there. So because there was no natural way of gaining narrative in Mondo other than the paying 12, or no, paying 10 funding to gain 1 narrative per turn, I added in some natural ways that you could do that. So this is totally optional, but I know for a fact that this will work if you use it, and this will be fun because Warhammer uses it, and it's a very good, fun system. The following is a list of narrative elements you must complete to gain narrative points. Narrative elements can only have their conditions met during your turn. The keyword have requires conditions to be met at the end of your turn. So you can't do something during your turn, it has to be there at the end of the turn for you to get the narrative. Narrative elements only pay out 1 at the end of your turn. Narrative elements only pay out at the end of your turn, and they pay out 1 narrative. Pick any 2 after the roll off at the start of the game. They are public knowledge. So you get to know which ones your opponent chose. So if your opponent plays one that says have, that means that if you destroy that card before the end of their turn, they don't get the narrative point for it. So let's just go through these narrative elements real quick and see how you guys can gain narrative in this version of MondoMegabits. You have the Spiritual Traveler. You are a spiritual traveler in your narrative. And you gain a narrative every time you play a location during your turn. So if you play 2 locations, you still just get 1 narrative. That's kind of the trend, right? You can meet the conditions as much as you want during one turn. You're still just going to get one narrative for it. So if you play a location, or in parentheses locations, you'll get one narrative. Hipster, you are a hipster in your narrative. Have no creatures in play, minimum 1, so you have to have minimum 1 creature in play, with a group in common as your opponent's creatures. Easy if your opponent has no creatures. So if you have a creature in play and it doesn't have the same group as your opponent, you gain 1 narrative. But yeah, you might be thinking, wait, group, isn't that like fake tech? Aren't all the cards in this fucking set fake tech? Don't all the cards in existence right now, aren't they all fake tech? Yes, but this is actually achievable through probably several means, but I know that Authentic World is one way that you can get this. Authentic World just takes away your group identity, which is cool. But then you'd have to draw Authentic World in your first hand, and you can still only have 3 copies of a card in this version. Purist. Have 2+ creatures of only the same group in play. I wanted to call this one racist, but I didn't want to do that. Arsonist. Destroy, not replace, a location, group, or agenda. Group card or agendas. Gunsmith. Play a weapons. So if you play any weapons during your turn, you gain 1 narrative. Spooky. Play an incantation during your turn. I don't think there are any incantations yet, so that one's going to be hard. Undefeated. Complete a challenge. Every time you complete a challenge during your turn, you gain 1 narrative. And if you complete 2 challenges, you still just gain the 1 narrative. Healthiest boy. If you gain a narrative at the end of your turn if you've killed any creatures. Wimp Dick. Play a creature with 4 or lower strength. So notice you don't have to have this creature on the board still. You just have to play it. Smartest boy in the room. This is taken from Sam Hyde's rant on people saying that buying Bitcoin is dumb. The smartest boy in the room requires you to have, right? So there's that keyword. A creature with 8+ intelligence in play. And creatures with 8+ intelligence, I believe, gain like special traits. I don't know. I'll specify it in the rulebook later. It'll be before this one. This will be the last page of the rulebook, so it'll be easy to find. Swaggy. Have a creature with 8+ swag in play at the end of your turn. Deadhead. Have 4 cards in your graveyard that weren't there at the end of your previous turn. Start of the game means there was no previous turn, so you're solid. So it just means get 4 cards in your grave every single turn, and you gain 1 narrative for doing that. Get 4 or more cards in your grave. I'll actually add that right there. 4+. You get 4 new cards, so it doesn't matter if you pulled out old cards in your graveyard or whatever. It's just, if you have 4 more in there, then you gain 1 narrative at the end of your turn. Snake Die. Roll a 1 on a d6 for card effects. This just means that you can't just be sitting there rolling a d6 for no reason. It has to be, you have to have rolled it for a card effect. Doubloons? I'm in. This is my meth head pirate impression. Flip 2 or more coins for a card effect. So each time you do that every turn, you gain 1 narrative. Questioning. Change the sexuality of a creature. That one's fun. Might is right. This is direct from Warhammer. Have a creature with 8+ strength in play. That's your Warhammer reference right there. Candyman. Play as a character you made up. Some people are going to have too much fun with this one. You must speak 2 or more sentences on your turn in an altered voice. They need to be embarrassed a little more. So you have to change your voice to play a character. And you have to name the character as well. Get your shit rocked. So this one breaks the rules of normal narrative elements. Getting your shit rocked once per game. So you can only have this one once per game. Lose the roll-off at the start of the game. Start the game with +2 narrative. So this is kind of like my attempt at sort of balance. This is kind of like the interesting one. This one might get changed or even removed, depending on it. Stuff like this has been removed from other games, or stuff like this has been also become meta in other games. Like things of this nature where it's just get this really simple but kind of strong effect, and it turns out it's just the strongest effect. So getting your shit rocked, even though it only gives you 2 narrative, it gives you 2 narrative really quickly. so that might be worth taking. So you take 2 of these. So at the start of the game, so you roll off, right? You roll your die. Where's the die? I don't know if you heard that or not, but you roll your die, and you say, I am a spiritual traveler and a purist. So that means that each time you play location, well, one or more location, and each time you end your turn with creatures of only the same group in play, then you gain a narrative. Make sure to like and comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one for the next update.